on this computer.
Boom, there we are. Okay, we're live. Oh, yeah. Are you guys excited? I'm excited. I always get excited when I meet with you awesome people. How's it going? How's life? Here, let's do this. Because there are frequencies. Did you guys know this? That our brains have brain waves and brain frequencies, and our bodies have energy frequencies. I know that sounds kind of like doo-doo-doo. But it's like, no, it's like legit. There's like science and brain waves, and like kids have different brain waves, and we have different brain waves, and we have different experiences in different brain waves. Anyways, one of the highest energies that exists in the world is the energy of gratitude and excitement. So let's do this real quick. Everyone just share something you feel grateful for right now in this moment. Oh, what do you feel grateful for? Oh, that was awesome. What are you grateful for? What are you feeling grateful for? So throw it in the chat box. See it. Ooh, health. That's one I was thinking of. I'm going to open up the chat here so we can see all of these. Boom. Yeah, health. Beautiful fall weather, right? Yeah, man, nothing like fall weather. My daughter, she's 13, our daughter. She's 13. She every day, I love this weather. I love this weather. I love this weather. They love it. It's cold outside. They just love it. Up early and joining us. Yeah, Jody, nicely done.
I was up at 4:45. It's been a few hours, but honestly, they haven't seemed that productive.
Yeah.
Because it's been a busy, crazy day with missed flights and stuff for our son.
Our son missed the flight this morning because of a COVID test result that didn't come back in time.
Yeah. So problem solving.
Problem solving all morning, putting out fires. Let's see. Fall has been wonderful this year. Nice, healthy body. Just got over pretty good flu or COVID. And so grateful, good most of the time. Getting up early all week. Nicely done, Mary. You. Love it. Love it. So, yeah, I'm grateful for so many good books to help me learn things to help my life increasingly better. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Yes,
Me
yes,
too.
yes.
I love my books. I'm reading probably like 10 of them right now.
As am I. You guys, books are life-changing. I know in this group, you guys, you know us and you're with us. We're preaching to the choir here to say that books are life-changing, that bibliotherapy, right? It's therapy we get from reading good books. Every one of us needs bibliotherapy. We all do, and it's the best thing there is, where you can read from the greatest minds and ideas, the greatest lives of all time, the most brilliant thinkers that have ever lived on this earth. If anything got put in writing, we get access to it. But I came across a comment today, and I just have to share this because it was humorous and actually kind of like scary. This guy is getting married, and he's like, hey, does anyone in this group want to it was a different group that I'd come across, and like, anyone want to recommend some books? I'm about to get married, and I want to get some good books to prepare to have a great marriage, right? And I was like, yes.
What a great question.
What a great question. Kudos to you for being thoughtful enough to think, hey, I want to have a successful marriage. I want to read some books about it. One of the guys in the comment, okay, there's two. One guy said, don't do it. That was his thoughtful response to marriage and preparing for marriage. The other guy said, if you need to read a book about it, then you're not ready. Like, what is wrong with people, man? Are you kidding me? What kind of philosophy is that? They're like, hey, look, if you need to read a book about something, then
there's something wrong.
There's something wrong. You're not ready. You shouldn't do it. Like, are you kidding me? That's just... it's so myopic. It's so anyways, I'm glad you guys love reading. I'm glad we're among readers.
I wanted to say this too because I thought this was super cool. This morning, okay, back up. I decided to do a Jordan Peterson challenge, which I'm actually writing a post about that. I'm going to share it. I've decided to challenge myself to
back up even farther than that.
Okay.
Rachel really wants a degree.
I want to go back to college and get a degree, but I want to get one from Harvard, right? Like, why not? So I was discussing starting classes when we took a trip up to get our rooftop tent in Tennessee a week or two ago. And
my question to her was like, why? I mean, I get it, but I'm like, what's your motive here? What's the meaning behind this? What's the purpose?
So anyways, long story short, we discussed all of that, and then we were listening to Jordan Peterson's podcast while we were driving, and he was like, if you read all of the books on Jordan Peterson's recommended reading list and listen to all of his podcasts, that would be a pretty great basis for an education, right? Not that I don't have an education, but that would take it further. So I was like, all right, that sounds really cool, actually. So I thought about it, and I decided I'm going to do that. Now, it'll probably take me 2 years to do that. That's okay. I mapped it all out. I have everything written down. So one of the books on his list was Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. He pronounces it a different way. But anyways, we pronounce it Dostoevsky. He actually has a lot of books by him. So I added that book to our Audible account because it was one of the freebies, right, that you could get for free. So I added the book.
Like, pause there for a second. One of the greatest classics ever written by an absolutely brilliant Russian man who understands humanity and human psyche. It's free, people. It's free. Why aren't we listening to this stuff?
So I added a bunch of the books on his list to my Audible, so it makes it easy for me to, if I have some time, I start listening to one of them. Well, my 18-year-old daughter sees it on there, and she says to me, well, this looks like an interesting title, and she starts listening to it. This morning, she's telling us, Crime and Punishment is like my new favorite book ever. I've never even read it. I don't even know, but I'm just like, sweet. Okay, that sounds awesome. So
she loves it. She was going on and on last night about this and that and the other and time period and their thinking and their interactions and why they do what they do and all this. Oh man, she just could not say enough about this old challenging classic. She was just lit up. You guys, we get to improve our lives. We get to learn from other people's mistakes and other people's successes.
And I guess I'm adding that because I wanted to mention this because of how it illustrates how things like this work in our life. I personally want to challenge myself, right? To achieve a goal that's hard and difficult. The idea of going to Harvard, like that's a challenging goal. But then if I even sat down and like I made a spreadsheet, because that's what I like to do is make spreadsheets and stuff. I made a spreadsheet of every single Jordan Peterson podcast and every single book he has. There's like 110 books, and there's at least 110 books, right? So if I read a book a week, that's a minimum of 2 years. And then there's 90 podcasts, right? So I'm figuring there's like 324 hours of podcast listening. So as I'm doing this, I'm kind of like, this is actually a little intimidating. Like, this is a lot, right? But that's the point. And listening to him even confirms it even more about why I'm doing this. He's like, you have to have a noble aim in your life, right? I mean, this is nothing new to me, but you have to have a noble aim. You have to have something that's challenging you, something that's pushing you, something that's driving you. And then the amazing thing that happens when you do that is it carries over. The simple act of me adding, so I'm planning ahead. I'm like, okay, this is what I have to do. These are the books. I looked up all the books and I either put them on my wish list in Amazon or added them to my wish list on Audible. And if I thought, okay, I can do these soon, I added them, or they were free, I added them to my Audible account. So I'm making it easy for me to be able to do this and make progress. And by doing that, it influences my children without me saying anything. I didn't even, say, hey, I haven't even told my kids yet. I decided to do, well, maybe I did. I mentioned it, but it automatically just influences their life and leads to them doing things that, they wouldn't otherwise do. If I told my kids, you should listen to this book by this Russian guy, Dostoevsky, it's on crime and punishment, they'd be like, really? I don't think so. But it's this automatic thing that occurs when we move forward in our life pursuing a noble aim. That I really like the term. That comes from Jordan Peterson. He calls it a noble aim. I really love that term. But it's our word for a dumb goal, right? Demanding, unrealistic, meaningful, and bold. when you have dumb goals, when you have these noble aims in your life, it gives your life a sense of meaning and purpose, and it inspires those around you to pursue something meaningful and purposeful.
Boom!
See,
you see what she just did there, you guys? She just modeled for us a way to roll through life, to pick a big goal, find out why, and hit it. And like, she made a sheet and she's tracking it along, made steps. I mean, you're setting up systems to succeed. So again, I have to ask, do you have a noble aim right now?
And I want to add to this that a lot of times we discount our noble aims because we don't think that they're realistic or they make sense. Like it's something that maybe calls to you or you're drawn to, or it speaks to you in some way, which was this thing with this idea of getting a degree at Harvard. And who knows, I may do that, I may not. That's down the road. I decided that I'm going to do this challenge, and it could take me 2 years, and then I'll reevaluate. Do I still want to get a degree from Harvard? And if so, I'll pursue that. But the idea, the fact that I had this, and this is something I've, been processing or thinking about for multiple years, at least 5 or more. But the fact that I allow myself to keep it as an option, and I think about it, and I consider it, and I've done all the research on what it would take to get the degree from Harvard. I have that all mapped out too. Like I know all the stuff I need to do. Because I've done that, and instead of just saying, well, that's dumb, or that's stupid, or I can't do that, or I can't afford it, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not this, or I'm not, all of that stuff. Instead of doing that, I allow myself to think about it, to dream about it, to imagine it. And as I do that, it gives life meaning and purpose, and it pulls you forward. It pulls you to your future self, right? And affects those around you. But if we discount it and we say, no, I can't do that, it's dumb, it's stupid, then that's when we actually are shutting down the very things that will bring us happiness, or that at least will start us on the path that leads to happiness, right? Because that's what we're trying to do. And the other thing, I love listening to Jordan Peterson because he confirms a lot of the things that we believe and we teach and all this. And he talks about how, it wasn't it like a week or two ago or a couple sessions ago, we were talking about how it's not actually achieving the goal that gives you the sense of meaning and significance and success. It's making progress on the goal, right? It's taking the steps towards the goal that give you the sense of meaning and fulfillment. And he verified that. Sorry.
Okay, keep going.
He verified that in one of the podcasts I was listening to about it's not achieving the noble aim that gives your life purpose, but it's having that aim that you're working towards that gives your life purpose.
And that's what gives you meaning and fulfillment and excitement. And it was Earl Nightingale. Earl Nightingale said that success, what is success? It is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. Mm-hmm. Boom! It's pursuing a noble aim. I mean, that's success, right? And you're hearing it from all these different sources and different time periods, just telling you what lights you up is chasing a big, meaningful goal.
And well, okay, there's a couple different things. I don't know, maybe we should get into this. I don't know. About starting where you are is one thing, and then the other thing is listening to what's in your heart, right? So what I was talking about, that desire, something that calls to you, something that you're drawn to. Now, if you don't have that and you're wondering, well, where do I start? And we've talked about this before too. We talked about it last time, and he talked about it when I listened to, I can't even remember. I've listened to like a podcast a day since then, but he says you start by cleaning your room. Now he's talking to students, right? Most of them, they're college students, but it applies to all of us.
Oh my goodness, that applies to all of us.
Where do you start? By trying to find a noble aim. Well, the whole point is you're trying to take chaos, which is what we exist in. The world is chaos, right? Our life is chaos.
Anybody relate to that?
Because of the complexity of life, right? You start with chaos and you're trying to transform it into order.
Will you jot that down in your notes real quick? I want you to really soak that in. I want you to think about that. I want you to spend several days really contemplating that idea that everything we're doing in life is trying to bring order to the chaos. So whenever, in fact, this is true even if there's any conflict in a relationship. Mm-hmm. So if we have conflict between the two of us, it's because somewhere in her mind or my mind or both, there is disorder. There's chaos. We haven't come to a conclusion and understanding.
Issue. There's something that's there that we haven't made sense of. We haven't labeled it. We haven't understood it fully. And so it exists as chaos between us until we can discuss it together, which sometimes seems like a messy process.
But the goal is to bring order.
We are bringing order to the chaos. And until you go through that process in every area of your life, your life exists in disorder. Your life exists in chaos.
So parenting right now, can I hit some?
No, go ahead.
In parenting, right? If you're having some chronic problems with one of your children or more, it's because there's some chaos. There's some disorder. It might be mental. It might be emotional. It might be physical. Oh man, there's so much to this. It's so awesome. Your state is connected to your space. Mm-hmm. So back to what Rachel was saying, start by cleaning your room, making your bed, organizing your pantry, your garage, your house, getting rid of some of the clutter and the crap. It starts to bring order and the sense of a sense of control.
Because you cannot bring order to your life and to your mind until you can prove to yourself that you can bring order to your environment. Does that make sense? So as you bring order to your environment, and we touched on this before, I know we have, but I think that I want to reemphasize this because I know for many of you, you feel like I'm not making progress. I'm not seeing change. I'm not, I want to move forward, but I can't. And I think we miss this simple connection. If you want to bring order to your life, if you want to achieve the vision of your future self, you begin by bringing order to your current existing life. And that starts by creating physical order. When you can order your space, when you can learn to order your life, that's where order begins, that you can then transfer to the future things. And I'm going to have to start calling him JP because Jordan Peterson every single time is a lot. And not JP Sears. He says you can't. There's almost two sides of this. There's the order of stop doing things that are sabotaging your life, right? Stop doing the things that are creating chaos. That's the first level. And once you have control over that, meaning you can put your life in order, your room is in order, your house is in order, your closets are in order, right? You've created order in your life. You can manage your time. You have a schedule and a calendar, and you can plan ahead, and you can, not miss important appointments, and you can all these other things. Then, hold on. Then you're actually at a place, a foundation where now you can create. You can't create until you get to that point. So if you're trying to create the life of your dreams, you actually can't do it while you're existing in chaos. It's only when you put everything in order that then you build a foundation which you can build on to create the life of your dreams. That's when you can move to the next level.
Are you guys taking notes? I'm taking notes. This is awesome.
So if you're wondering why, you're wondering why am I stuck?
To Rachel's speech here.
There you go. Why am I stuck? Why can't I move forward? Well, what part of your life is still in disorder? What do I not have control over yet? What am I not? Oh boy, we're getting a phone call from.
End it. Just hit decluttering.
Sorry, phone call from my daughter. We did not answer it, so I better call her. Anyways, what was I saying now?
That's why you're stuck. I'll keep going.
That's why you're stuck.
Let me have a turn. You call.
You have to figure out what in your life needs ordered.
Oh my goodness! Oh, is this hitting home? Wow. Wow. If there's any conflict, if there's any frustration, if there's any obstacle. It seems like, how can I get through this? Why do I not feel like I'm making progress here? It's because of some form of chaos or disorder. And that can be in our physical being, it can be in our mind, it can be in our emotions, it can be in our house, it can do in our work. I mean, it's in all of it.
Okay.
Whoa. Now, here's the big problem. Here's the greatest challenge. Is many of us are living in perpetual chaos. You know how Rachel's saying we got to stop creating chaos. A lot of us we're creating chaos consistently on our own. Maybe it's unconscious, maybe it's conscious, but we're creating our own chaos. Who's with me on this? Who has been a chaos creator? You got to own that sometimes. You got to be like, yeah, okay. You don't want to own it, right? But when you take extreme ownership, you say, okay, like, just cut off all the excuses, all this other stuff. You just get down to this, the truth. Whose fault is this? Who's got to own this? And then you get that point, you're like, yeah, okay, I'm either creating it or contributing to it. And so we got to stop creating chaos and bring order to our lives.
Part of the nature of existence itself is chaos. Like, you know, the world was formed out of chaos. Like, chaos just exists. It's just like gravity. It's just something that does exist. And by default, things fall into chaos if they're not continually put into order.
Yes.
So in some ways, it's not like it's your fault necessarily, right? It's not your fault that chaos exists in your house or in your family or in your life. It just is. It's just a default of being alive. It's just a default of existence. But your job, the reason for your existence, if you want to get existential here, right? The reason for your existence is to bring order to the chaos. And in fact, I was listening. I remember now. I was listening to one of his podcasts on about chaos and order. And while I was doing it, I was cleaning the house. Now, one of the things I've done probably for as long as I can remember, at least as long as we've been married, is I like to clean the house on Sunday, because I always felt like it was kind of a spiritual thing. Like, I'm bringing order to chaos from, you know, by cleaning, like, you know, house of order, all that stuff. So it's interesting that I've always felt that way about it. I felt like it was an ordering process. It was bringing order to chaos type process. And I was listening to his podcast on chaos and order while I was doing that. And I realized that this whole idea of cleaning a house and organizing a house, like, it has a whole deeper meaning than we realize that it has, that we give it significance. And that is that as a human being, you are bringing order to your life and to your world by cleaning and organizing your house. And when you can do that, and when you can learn to do it well, that is the foundation for bringing order to the rest of your life.
Oh my goodness. So where do you start? There's a question in the chat here. So if everything is in chaos, where do you start? And I'm sure we have felt that way before. Mm-hmm. Like, are you kidding me? Everything feels out of control in our life right now. There's been time periods where you're like, what is going on? It feels like everything's chaotic. And if you get in a state or space like that, where do you start? You start at the ground level. I
felt this before, and now I would say this very strongly, because it's not just me now, it's like psychological evidence of lots of thinkers. You begin with ordering your environment. That's just how it is. If your life is out of control and everything feels out of control, you start by ordering what is immediately around you. You clean up your desk. Then you organize the shelves. Then you clean the room. Then you clean out the closet. Then you move to the next room. You start by ordering your life. And if you can order every aspect of your life, that is the beginning of
greatness.
That is the beginning of greatness. And in fact, James Allen teaches that in As a Man Thinketh, that if you can learn to do small things in a great way, well, what he says is you can never learn to do great things until you can first learn to do small things in a great way. And that means something as simple as taking care of your house.
And taking care of your body. Ooh. 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 That's where you can start. You can start by saying, you know what? I'm only going to put food in this body that is good for my body.
That brings my body to order instead of chaos. Because what is disease but simply dis-ease of your body? Your body is out of ease.
It's hurting.
And so if you can bring ease and order to your body, you bring health.
And healing. Oh man, I love this stuff. So good. Great comment here, Mary. So she said, this is so right. We did a big clean this weekend and I feel so much better mentally this week. And I've been much more productive. Isn't that amazing? It's so powerful how everything fits together in our lives and all the pieces cross over. Everything affects everything. So each of you right now, let's do this. Let's make it real. Okay. What is one thing, and I want you to share it. Let's share it in the chat box so we have some accountability with each other. Just kind of, it's a way of saying it out loud, so to speak. Everyone throw in the chat box. What is one thing you want or need to bring order to this week?
Well, I need to know. I need you to talk to someone.
Okay, go ahead and share. Okay, the bedroom. Yes. Oh my goodness. And on that one specifically, a little side note here, the master bedroom needs to be your sanctuary. It needs to be like this special place that is clean, it's neat, it's organized, it has a unique purpose. If you've been doing all kinds of work in there, play in there, crafts in there, if it's an everything place, you got to get that all out of there. And your room has 2 specific purposes that both start with S. Right? I mean, it's got to have, and it's got to be an orderly place. That's a good one. So bedroom, budget. Getting the budget in order. Wow. Wow. How about, and budget, but overall the big picture, finances. How many of us need to get our finances in order? There's a little bit of chaos going on with the finances. And that's going to start up here too with our relationship with money. You got to bring order to the financial chaos with income and investing and spending. The kitchen pantry, the bedroom. Oh, I'm trying to catch up on all these. Another one for the bedroom, a pile of paper in front of me or in front of my filing cabinet, right? We have all this stuff going on. We're like, I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to it. There's things we just need to get to. I would suspect there's quite a few things that each of us just needs to get rid of. We just got to say, you know what, this just has got to go. It's got to go. Can't work anymore. And there's cluttering up our lives. Here's another one. My relationship with my 16-year-old son who doesn't want to follow any of our family rules and expectations, right? There you go. Fantastic. That's a great one. You might have a relationship that's in disorder. It's in chaos. There's some tension, frustration. It's just the dynamic's not working. You've got to bring order and get these relationships to a place of order. Because look, when a relationship is in a great place, it is ordered. When it's disordered and chaotic, it's not in a good place. And you and I, we can feel it, we know it, but we may not have articulated it like I'm bringing order to the disorder. And often when there's conflicts of understanding, we're not understanding each other, it's because of chaos. And we got to work through that. We got to figure out how to work through those things. Another one, don't even know where to start. I'm going to say getting estimates for repairs for the 3 different floods, water damage in our house. There you go. Great place to start. Something needs to get done. We got to bring order to that. I think I've told you before, I was working with one of my coaching clients who just had so many things going on in her life. She's very much like, she's like me, like an idea person, starting a lot of things. Let's go here, just very visionary, very, kind of just going this, that, and the other. But she had all these undone projects literally in her house. She was remodeling. They've been remodeling for years, right? and project here, project there, project here, project there, take care of all this stuff. And her entire runway, like if you're trying to launch into something, the entire runway was just cluttered with stuff, so to speak. And so you couldn't launch, you couldn't start, you couldn't get anywhere because it's so cluttered and blocked. It's all this blockage. Who's with me on this, right? You get your runway all blocked up. And so whatever it is you're trying to make progress on is like, oh. And so you got to bring order to the chaos. So here's how we go. Ready? Are you guys familiar with, many of you are probably already familiar with what's called the rule of 5. Somebody one time said, if you take your axe over and you just hit it, you swing it against a tree 5 times, and then you keep coming back and you keep swinging 5 times, eventually you're going to chop through that log, right? Or the tree or whatever. It's just, you take 5 good swings at it, and you come back later, 5 good swings at it, you're gonna make some progress. And I love this idea, this concept, because it takes something that might feel overwhelming and it brings it back to manageable tasks. Can you do 5 things? So everyone think of something you want to work on. Now, this can be something you want to get ordered or some big project you want to work on. Something, it might be this applies to your noble aim that we were talking about, like having a great noble aim. And it also applies to an obstacle that's chaos and disorder. Just 5 things. It's the rule of 5. What 5 things can you do? And I want you to write this down. I want you to get really thoughtful about this. Do it right now. And we'll share, because it'll bring some inspiration for the whole group. What are 5 things you can do consistently to make progress? I learned this principle from some authors who actually, they are the, how would I say that? They've sold more books than any other human being in history. They are the highest selling authors on earth in history, not currently on earth, ever. They've sold more books than anyone ever. And they used the rule of 5. They said every single day we did 5 things that would generate more sales of our books. Now, maybe whatever you're looking at, you can't do 5 things a day, but could you do 5 things in a week? I think we can pull that off, can't we? Can we do 5 things in a week? I think so. So what are 5 things? How can you implement the rule of 5 in your favor? So let's just share, everyone share a couple of things you can do. Again, we're just getting this out here. So could it be 5 daily habits? Absolutely. That could be one of them. It could be 5 daily habits to bring order to your life. Like if you're, and especially if you're on let's say you're on a big projector, you've got a big target or a goal or noble aim, and you're like, man, if I had 5 daily habits and I just hit them every single day, that would move me. It might be those habits, right? It might actually be 5 very specific action steps. If you needed to, let's say first you wanted to work on something and you needed to call people, then you could make a call every day, 1 call every day, or 5 calls every day. There's all kinds of things. You can make your bed every single morning. Yep. There's a speech I once heard about the power of making your bed. Yeah. There's I think it was some kind of Navy admiral or something. He gave a great speech about making your bed. Yep. So you start out by ordering those things, right? You might get rid of something. You might get rid of something. One thing a day you just get rid of. If you say your world is pretty cluttered, then your thing could be, I get rid of 1 thing a day. You just go through, evaluate. Yep, that goes. It might be around organizing. It might be, target you need to, I don't know, what if it's a fitness goal. What are 5 things you could do each week to get in better health? Right? I mean, there's so many great things you can be doing. So here's some. I'm doing a fitness challenge with some of my friends right now. 5 things: exercise 30 minutes, no treats, drink 64 ounces of water, be in bed at a certain time, report to the group. Fantastic. There it is. Fantastic. 5 things you can do right now to move forward on a fitness challenge. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So again, break it down. What's the rule of 5 and something you want to do and accomplish and achieve? And I hope this is this helpful? Like, tell me, is this helpful? Is this working? Is this helpful to have like the big picture of the noble aim combined with the chaos and the disorder, and that how those they contradict and conflict with each other? And so we have to consistently be thinking about how can we bring order to the disorder and the chaos, and how can we get like make consistent progress towards our noble aim. Because I don't know about you, but there's been times when I knew I wanted to work on something. I knew I wanted to create something. I knew I had something valuable and special to do. And I thought about it and I talked about it. But before I really realized it, weeks would pass and then months. And sadly, in some of my cases, years passed. Years passed. While I thought about it and I talked about it, I wrote about it in my journal, I mentioned it to others, but I didn't really make any progress on it. Years! Man! Right? And we don't have to stay in that game. We actually get in a space where every week, and we can use, this is what I tell my coaching clients, use Friday as your barometer. Use Friday as your barometer. How are things going? How much progress did you make? Did you make consistent progress this week on your major goals? Right, that's awesome. So on Friday at 5 p.m., I have an alert that goes off on my calendar, and it gives me a notification, and it just says Friday barometer. And I stop and I go, how did I do this week? Did I move forward towards a noble aim? Did I bring order to some chaos? And chaos is that natural state of things. All right, who's with me? Yeah, you guys feeling this? Are you excited? Everyone move a little bit. Okay, shake your body, move, wake up the mind, the body. I'm gonna make you do some jumping jacks with me. Actually, I'm gonna turn on some music and make you dance around. Okay, so let's switch here and do. Rachel is helping with this whole COVID flight test thing that's going on right now. She's bringing some order to the chaos. Bringing some order to the chaos. But I want to do some coaching. So anyone who's willing, who has something they want to work on or a problem they're facing, let's kind of have some coaching sessions here. I want to do that if you are willing and interested, and then some Q&A, answer some of the questions and quandaries you have. I've got some other things we can talk about, but I want to do that. So question here, I'm curious how you plan your days to reach both the daily things and the big goals. What tools do you actually use? Fantastic. Great question. And I'm sure you got to find something that works for you. It's really interesting. Just we're all so different that an app or a tool or a strategy that works for some of us just doesn't really jive for all of us. That's why there's so many different kinds of journals out there, because it just doesn't work for certain personality types. So what I'm loving is these journals that we have. And again, like, we created these because it worked for my way of thinking. I'm like, I'm a complex guy. I got all kinds of things I'm working on. I can't just have one thing. I got to have the booklets. So I love doing that. Here's something I've been doing recently, and I want to invite you to try it. At the beginning of the day, write this down, will you? Just, even if you don't use it, I just want you to think about it, because this is beautiful. At the beginning of the day, I write at the top of the page, what would make today a success? What would make today a success? And then, so I wrote it big, actually. So I wrote it big at the top of the page, and then I'll write the date, and I'll just put a few things. Don't make it huge. If you give yourself a huge list, you're setting yourself up for failure. A small list of what are the things that would move the needle today. What would make it a success? And jot those things down. Man, it's a really, really great way to get it done, right? So That's one strategy I use to say what would make today a success. Now, every day is different depending on the project you're working on, right? So for me today, so Laura's asking what I wrote for today. I'm working. Okay, I'm excited. This is one of those projects that I talked about for years. This is one of the painful remorses. It was in 2011, so 9 years ago, I came up with the framework. 9 years ago, I came up with the framework. And it's just now starting to come to fruition. But I am creating a complete masterclass. I mean, fully comprehensive masterclass for men. Just to help men be men, to just awaken masculinity and awaken that manliness, that sleeping giant that's gone away or been grossly twisted and distorted and misunderstood. So I'm launching that bad boy on Friday. And I'm giving my first presentation. I'm on a live training. I'm doing a live training for a conference about well, it started out as 5 things, but it's actually 7. 7 things that every man must have in his life. And this includes your sons. For boys to become men, gotta have it. And for men to be men, gotta have it. Oh, awesome. You've already helped. This is a comment in the chat. You've already helped my husband so much. You've changed our lives and his. Now reading machine instead of a TV watching machine. Exactly. Yes, I love that. Oh, I love it. And the reason, my friends, well, I could get into all of that. Oh my goodness. There's a reason to that. There's a psychological and physiological reason to all of that. If we're not really leaning into manliness, and this is true for women too, and womanliness, if you're not really leaning into who you are, then you just kind of by default like, well, crap. Oh, what should I do? And so we end up doing just kind of whatever. It might be TV or video games or social media or sitting around. It might be eating. It might be gossiping. It might be just doing nothing. Right? It might be trying to distract ourselves, or numbing or buffering just with whatever. Right? But we're not really living. We don't feel really alive. We're just kind of existing, kind of going along, kind of distracting ourselves. So there's some psychology behind that. So what I come back to, what am I doing this week? Man, I'm all over that stuff because I got to get my presentation finalized. I have to get the course finalized, and I have to get the checkout pages. I have to create videos and then outline it all. So that's what's on mine for today, right? Making the videos, writing the paragraphs, inserting the pictures, refining and finalizing the outline, and drafting the first emails. Boom, boom, boom. And then I have a list of things that are always on my daily what will make today a success. It's really engaging with Rachel, right? Just uninterrupted, undivided attention and time with her. With the kids, we already did our morning devotional together. We had breakfast together. We did our morning devo as a family together. We have great discussions. So the kids and I are doing classes and training together. We kind of went over some of that. So I'm investing in each person in my family. I'm investing every day as well. So I make deposits in the emotional bank account, the relationship bank account. Okay, back to tools and strategies. Like what else can we use to get dialed in? So we've taught you guys about, I use a battle board here, my whiteboards. I don't use those as much as I want to, but what I've been finding extremely value is my scrum board. So I just did a whole new project that I have to hit this week, and it's these little pink ones right here. And yes, I use stickies. It just works. Man, it just works. Some people use accountability apps like Trello or Asana. especially if you're using a team. It's digital. I don't do digital as much because out of sight, out of mind. I want it right in front of my face, right over here on my wall. I've got other projects on stickies that I'm mapping out. Like what are the things, the big framework ideas. If I'm thinking through something, I write down all the things and put them on my wall. I do use Google Calendar. Love Google Calendar. And I schedule all my whole week in there. And so I like to do scheduling with Rachel and myself, like on Sunday, sometime either morning or evening. I like to sit down and say, okay, what's my week going to look like? I'm going to make this a successful week. And then I check in with myself each morning. So that's kind of my framework. I hope that's helpful. So maybe spend 30 minutes to an hour on Sundays getting your week dialed in. Then every morning checking in, like what's going to make today successful? What's on my calendar? What's my schedule? How am I going to fit this all in? And let's go. So hopefully that's a helpful framework there. Let's see. I think this would be great for my husband. But if I mention it, I think he will just say that I'm trying to fix him. Right? And men do not want to be fixed. Or, ladies, men, this is one of the things I want to talk about. Men do not. We do not like to be criticized because it can feel like a threat to our manliness. Now, ironically, if I'm not showing up and being my best, boy, I need a little kick in the pants. And sometimes if I'm off, I need some fixing, right? But you awesome wives and moms with your husbands and your sons, it's not like you have to like super. Oh man, are we back? We're back. It's not like we have to be super sensitive like with them, and you can't like say anything. But I'm going to invite you to be extremely diplomatic, be influential. You have unbelievable amounts of power. And this goes every way with all your relationships. So this can be done so effectively. You can introduce it in a way that is very enticing, very appealing, very exciting. Like, yes, this needs to be a part of my life, right? That's the case. And so it just has to be done diplomatically. So it needs to be done. That persuasion needs to happen. That influence, the invitation, it has to be there. And we got to invite it in a way that's like special and enticing, and where the man chooses for himself, right? You got to get him to want it. This is true with everything. If you tell your kids to do something, they're like, man, whatever. But if you ask them the right questions and they're like, I should really do that. You're like, yeah, that's great. How can I support you? Right? Totally different outcome. So we got to be more influential about it. So he feels like I'm fixing him and I'm not happy with him. So yeah, there it is again. Like, never criticize. You can give suggestions and feedback and love and counsel and ask him questions so he comes to a conclusion. That's not the case. He has some real challenges, some mostly health. I think he would be helped by your stuff. Yep. How do I approach this with him? Love it. Just like that. So just come in like super, you got to think through very specific ways with each of your people you're trying to influence in your life. You have to say, what can I, and walk through it in your mind, walk through the dialogue. What would they say? What can I say? How can I approach this? When's the right time to do this? Timing matters. And the way it's done matters. Like, how can I say this in a tactful way that the outcome is like, man, yeah, I really need and want to do that. And we have to get people there where they feel like it's a must. If I don't do this, and this is true for all of us, if we don't get to the must where we raise necessity and say, if I don't make this change, my life will not be what I want it to be. I won't be who I want to be. I have to do this. This is an absolute must. This is non-negotiable. But each of us has to come to that conclusion on our own. So you have to think through, what are the very tactful and diplomatic ways you can help people come to that conclusion? Oh, yeah. Love this stuff. Okay, let's see. Nathan has been experimenting with the bullet journal method. After a few days, I like it. Yeah. So mine, the journals that I have are just, they're just bullets, right? They're just the dots. They're dot pages. So it allows a ton of freedom for creativity. And of course, she's an artist and she makes hers look amazing. but I'm piecing mine together. It looks really good. Feels good. Okay, great comment here. I think what helped my husband get on board was that I got really excited about one of Greg's Instagram posts and said, you should hear this. A couple in, and he got hooked. I think I remember that. I remember the post where you tagged him. How cool is that? That's awesome. So yeah, and just like, hey, oh, this is so cool, and just tag a video or a podcast. Have them jump in the podcast, and it's not for everybody, but the ones who get in the podcast and start listening, oh man, we build this kind of unique relationship in the podcast. Speaking of which, so the last podcast is on the expanded life. The one before that is called Trapped in Trauma. And I have been getting a lot of really heartfelt messages lately that one has really been impactful and life-changing for a lot of people who realize they've been stuck. They've been trapped and didn't realize it. They didn't know what was holding them back. So trauma can be a form of chaos and disorder that needs to be ordered when we process it. Oh man. So yeah, sometimes I'll put them on Instagram. You can find podcasts anywhere. They're on iTunes. They're on all the podcast outlets. They're on my website. I've got to just link there with podcasts. They're all on there. So I'm up to like 130 something episodes now. So you can find them like anywhere there's podcasts, you can find it's just the Extraordinary Family Life podcast. You can find that on there. Let's see. Let's see. This is all resonating with me so much. I was accused of being too critical of my kids and husband just last week. And it's easy to do, right? I'm not busting anybody's chops here. It's so easy. It's so easy for all of us to be critical. And isn't it ironic? It's easier to see things in other people than it is in ourselves. It really is. And so we can look out and go, man, well, if you would just do this, like you'd get better results. I mean, it's so obvious, right? But if you just go up and say that and be like, hey, you're doing that and you should be doing this, that comes across as criticism. Where if you just pause, here's what I found with myself. And I used to do that too. And I'd give the dad lecture, which never works. The dad lecture never lands. But dads keep lecturing. It's hilarious. It doesn't work. But I would just pause. I'd catch myself and say, if I just go in there and like give them the rant, it's not going to work. It never does. And I'll pause for a minute. I'll be like, how could I introduce this idea in a way that they will grab onto it? And it takes me just 5 or 10 minutes of thoughtfulness, and then it lands. Boom, right? It lands. Like, what story could I tell? What reference? What quote? What book could I read? What video? What movie? Maybe you just find a great video and you just watch a video together, or a podcast, or whatever. Right? How do you land this? How do you teach principles? What question? You could go in and again, I always tie it to, I hope this is helpful, because we all have to do this, especially with your husbands, with your kids, with whoever, or your wives. So the way it goes both ways. If you want to be more influential, you've got to be more strategic in thinking about how can I have influence and persuasion here? Because just telling people and yelling, especially, it just doesn't work. Yelling and telling just don't work. Right? Yelling and telling don't work. So just a thought here. And you always got to appeal. You've always have to appeal to desire. So write this down. If you don't write it down, anything else, write that down. If you want to be more influential, always appeal to a person's desires. Always appeal to a person's desires. Well, most people desire to be their best, to live a happy life, to chase down some kind of goal, do something meaningful and fulfilling, right? And so if you appeal to the desire and then ask really good questions that connect their desire and their current behavior, then you win. Does that make sense? So if I have a child that really wants to buy something. Maybe one of your kids is like mine, right? And they're always, I want to buy something. Oh my goodness. Oh, I want a new device, like a drawing tablet, or they want to go on a trip, right? I have kids, they want to go on this big trip. My response always is whenever they say they want something, I'm like, that is fantastic. What do you think you could do to earn the money? I don't know. I'm like, well, let's think through some ideas. And I help them think through it, right? And we get it kind of outlined, and I help them through that. And then if, let's say, for example, that child, then I find that child being lazy, or it's kind of perpetual laziness or perpetual distraction or doing things you don't want them to do. So instead of going in and being critical, hey, stop doing that. Gosh, you're always doing that. Being critical, you just find a way like, hey, how can I help you, spend more time earning some money? Or how could you get some more work here to save up for your thing? Remember your thing? And so I'm always tying back to the aspiration. I'm always tying back to the big desire and saying, helping them like, look, is this helping you get what you want most? All right, let's go. How can I help? Right? Always tying back to the big desire. So with husbands, right? What's their desire? Their desire is to be manly. Every man wants to be a man. He wants to be successful. He wants to succeed. You know what he wants to do? He wants to consistently win his woman. Let that sink in. Every man wants to consistently win his woman because he actually has a deep need, an absolute necessity to be wanted by his woman. Criticism feels like the worst hurt because if you're criticizing him or trying to fix him, like was said, he feels like he's not loved and he's not wanted. Ouch, man, that hurts. So every man wants that, but he gets caught in distraction, he gets caught in addiction, he gets caught in not living a great story, right? That doesn't mean he doesn't want to. He's just kind of stuck there. So any kind of gentle, loving, persuasive influence you have to lead him to who he wants to be, again, you will move the tide. You will move the tide and lift all the boats. Oh man, that's good stuff. Okay. Any good books on how to be strategic? I am not achieving this. See, you can just stay private, just follow Greg. Love, I'm just trying to catch up here. That's true. You can keep a private account on Instagram, so you don't have to get on, you don't have to post, you don't have to follow anybody else. You can just follow a few. You can follow me and Rachel or whatever, a few things like that. Yeah, the smaller insights are on Instagram. Cool. Thanks, Marissa. That's awesome. Okay, any good books on being more strategic? Honestly, like you start with a great classic, like How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's an old, awesome classic, but it's just spot on. And it walks through how to really connect with people, how to understand people, and how to influence them. There's a book out there called Persuasion and one called Persuasion. There's some books on influence, how to have influence with others. I've read how to work. John Maxwell has lots of great books on how to work with people. Read the book Scary Close. If you haven't read that one yet, read Scary Close. It just talks about being open and vulnerable and having those conversations and opening yourself up to just build that relationship. That's a great one for marriage. Scary Close by Donald Miller. Again, just think through. I'm going to do a whole course on this. I'm going, you know what? That's it. I'm going to do a whole course on influence. I've got to. We have to be more influential. In fact, when I do coaching, in my coaching sessions, I have at least 2 or 3 coaching sessions I do with my coaching clients. We talk about persuasion and influence. We have to be more influential. We have to be more persuasive. If we go through life just kind of hoping things work out, expecting people to be influenced by us because what? Like, you're my spouse, you should be influenced by me, or you're my kid, you should be influenced by me. It never works. That never lands. It never works out. So we have to be more thoughtful and strategic about it. Oh man, I love this stuff. Let's see. Need more influence. Yes, we need it. Yes. So true. Do you have any book recommendations for learning how to approach situations without telling or seeming to be critical and being a good influence to help people want to be better and see things they have been blind to? Yep, that's exactly what we're talking about, Nathan, man. All right, I'm going to write this down, people. We need full course on influence. Oh, okay, here's a perfect example. I wrote down this idea, it was a couple of years ago, that I needed to do a full course on influence. And here we are, into 2020, and I'm still talking. I should do a course on influence. Let's see, full. Okay. Love it. Man, this is good. Can I give you, it seems like there's some interest in this right now. Would you like some goods right now? Anybody? Okay. Actually, okay. I'll share a couple of things, and then we can do some coaching if anyone wants to hear the coaching too. Okay, but I'm getting some serious thumbs up and some interest in this. All right, number one. You ready? May I lovingly do some coaching here? I'm gonna be straight. Here we go. If you don't live the message, then you suck as the messenger. Just go ahead and write that down. If you don't live the message, then you suck as the messenger. So the first element of influence is, man, you've got to be striving with all your might to live the principle and the practice. And this makes sense. It makes sense, doesn't it? Doesn't that resonate? If I don't read at all ever, and I keep telling my kids how important books are, that they need to be reading books, how's that going to go over? Right? That thing is just going to fall flat. Right? Just going to totally fall flat. So I have to be striving to live the message. Numero uno. Got to be striving to live the message. 2, I've got to be, well, let me ask you. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. This will be good. This will be really good. Let me see. That's my problem. I've been taking your classes since March. My family hasn't seen me make any big changes. So if I want them to take your classes, they won't see the value. Ooh. Okay, there it is. Great insight. Great honest aha moment there. Because in their mind, what are their objections? And this is really good, actually. You got to think through their objections. If you're trying to influence someone, whether it's your neighbor or employees or employers or friends or extended family or people in your church congregation or people in your organization, whatever, if you're trying to influence people, you have to think through, what are their objections? What are their objections? And the natural thought is, and you just said it there, that was beautiful. Like, well, wait a minute. If I say they should do this, they're going to be like, well, you're doing it, and what's it doing for you? Right? That's a natural objection. Why should I do that? And so you have to look and say, am I actually doing it myself? Am I creating changes? Here's the coolest thing. Can I reach out and like give you a big hug and some high fives and some virtual fist bumps here and remind you how powerful you are? you have far, far, far more power to create change in your life and influence others than you can even imagine. But we get used to things as they are. And so we just kind of leave them as they are. And many of us kind of settle in. And we settle for less than our best or what we're capable of. In 30 days, in just 30 days, and 60 days even more, in 30 to 60 days, you could do things that would dramatically alter the course of your life. You can make massive changes. Do you realize that? I mean, it's totally possible to make massive, massive shifts. And when you do that, and when other people see you doing it, what happens? Man, they get lit up. They start listening. They will listen when they see you growing and changing. Does this make sense? Is this landing? Man, and how do you make those massive shifts? By taking massive action. Like, you've got to get serious about it. It has to, the very first step is, like I was saying, I mentioned this earlier, it has to become a must. It's no longer I should, it's a must. Get rid of your shoulds and bring in a must. This has to happen. This will happen. And you do it. Maybe it's a house that's been just disorganized and cluttered for years. And in 30 days, you are going to just clean that entire house. You are going to get rid of so much. You're going to take truckloads. Yeah, I've got a secret camera in there. I can see. And you're like, no, he's not my room. You're going to take truckloads of stuff to the Goodwill or to the dumps. Let that sink in. A house that has been cluttered for years can be totally decluttered and organized and clean and simplified in 30 days. And you will literally be living in a new environment. Who's with me? You know what I'm talking about? You get rid of all the junk. Boom, it's gone. You paint the walls and you're like, we live differently. 30 days. Do you think your kids will experience that? You think your kids will notice that? You with me? You know what I'm saying? Will your kids notice if you totally transform your whole environment? They're going to be like, holy crap. What happened? This is awesome. Because you got organized. Okay? What happens when they see the positive changes in their life, and instead of getting inspired, they get scared or listen less and shut off anything you're doing, even work against it? That may happen. Excellent question. That may happen because change often feels scary. But it's usually from a mindset. It's usually from a mindset of the unknown or self-limiting doubts that say, I don't know if I can change. I don't know if I can keep up. I don't know if I have what it takes. It's often insecurities. Here's what's interesting, you guys. We absolutely lose self-confidence when we're living below our potential. And so, like, doing those safe, comfortable things and shrinking, it makes us kind of feel comfortable, but we feel so insecure. And so we don't take risks. We don't make changes. It feels threatening, right? So when you're making changes and others see it, it often feels like a threat. And so, again, you have to be more influential and bring them along and say, come with me, let's do it. I'll help you achieve your goals too. Let's go. We can make this happen. You with me? I love this stuff. And again, it's persuasion, it's influence, it's bringing people along, it's encouraging them, it's saying constantly, and it's saying out loud. So my friends, like, please do this. Articulate your desires out loud. You guys, our house has been cluttered for so many years. Like, let's just clean it up. let's make a huge shift. Let's get this thing decluttered and organized and never go back. Let's take November and we're going to get our house in order. And you walk through and you ask for help and you're like, I'm scared. And you tell him, so Nathan, you tell him, I'm scared. I'm concerned. I don't know what this is like. I doubt myself sometimes, but I want to be better. I want to be my best self. I can't stay back there. That's not an option. So let's face this together. Let's chase some goals together. Let's face our challenges together. And it actually becomes this beautiful journey and this beautiful bond to make changes. Are you with me? Can you hear me? Come on. Are you guys excited or what? You sit there sometimes taking this in. I know you're taking it in, but I'm like, come on, show a little emotion so I know you're not like screen frozen. Get excited about it and make some moves. So like do this. If your house is decluttered, so like this, I've been trying to do the declutter house thing for years. Well, there's your problem, my dear. You've been trying. Don't try anymore. All of you, don't try. Do or do not. And I think this is the problem. This is where a lot of us get into trouble. And this was my problem. I just admitted that to you a minute ago. My problem was I was trying to do that thing for years. That's bogus. Either I'm doing it or I'm not doing it. And the key is pick a time period and go massive action. So how do you create massive results? With massive action. So instead of trying to do it over years, you say in November, this house is getting transformed. And you go gangbusters. Are you going to get tired? Yeah. Is there going to be some frustration? Uh-huh. Is there going to be some growing pains? Yep. Is there going to be some resistance? Uh-huh. So what? Go. Most people don't start simply because they don't start. Let that sink in. Most people don't start just because they don't start. Action. Just take action. You can have your whole house decluttered this month. And that's why I started with you have way more power than you think you do. In 30 days, you could transform your life. Okay, here's another one that I come across all the time. People want to lose weight. And they'll say to me, I've been trying to lose weight for years. I've been doing this and doing that. I've been trying. But what you don't realize, you have unbelievable power. In the next 30 days, you can easily lose 20 pounds. Would 20 pounds make a difference? Are you kidding me? That's like putting on a 20-pound vest right now and just walking around. You're like, geez, this thing's heavy, right? Drop that. And you totally can. You totally can. And you're like, I've tried this and I've tried, oh, it's so hard and this. And what I'm saying is in a 30-day period, this isn't forever. In a 30-day period, say I'm going all in. That's it. I'm going all in. This is a must for me. It's no longer a should. It is a must. No sugar, no soda, no simple carbohydrates like no potato chips or French fries. Like we're going to have delicious meals that we find recipes online that are healthy and good. And I'm going to move my body. You don't have to like run a marathon or anything, but just move your body for 30 or 40 minutes, 5 days a week. Eat good food. Watch. It just comes off. My clients that I do this, my coaching clients I do this with, they end up losing like a pound a day once they're dialed in. You can do that. Oh my goodness, you can do it. If we were together, I'd have you dancing right now. We'd all be like dancing. We can do this, yeah. Like you, because you can. If I can be totally honest, you are your greatest obstacle. It's your own limiting beliefs about yourself that's holding you back. You know that's true, right? It is your own limiting beliefs about yourself that's holding you back. So in a very, very real sense, my friends, oh, you guys know how much I love you right now. Like my heart is just overflowing with love for you right now. Sincerely. Really just pouring out love. I know you have the power. And in the next 30 days, you could absolutely declutter your house and lose 20 pounds. I know you can do this. And will that not create some influence? Yes or no? I didn't get a movement. You guys didn't even wiggle on that. Will that not create some influence in your life? Oh my goodness. what's the date today? The 5th, something? I don't even know what day it is. Okay, 4th. It's not even the 5th yet. So we'll give you start. It's the 4th. So by December 4th, your house, your environment could look totally different, feel different. Like, who was it that said they did a major decluttering last week and it just cleared the mind and the feelings, productivity? I think it was Mary. By December 5th, you could have your entire house decluttered and be 15 to 20 pounds lighter. Will that influence Christmas? If there's any doubt, yes, yes. Sorry if you have headphones on and I just hurt your ears. Yes. Oh my goodness. Will that make a difference? Yes. Do you think this husband who you're trying to persuade is going to, in December, go, whoa, woman, you decluttered the house and dang, you look good? You think he's going to listen? Yes, I'll just speak for him right now. Yes, he's going to listen. Like, you have this power. And I love, yeah, Marissa, you already committed to both. Yes. Right, and have some accountability partners. Use the Facebook group, you guys, as accountability, inspiration, encouragement. Post pictures.
We're going to be decluttering.
Oh, we're going to be decluttering, you guys, because we're going on some epic adventures. We're going to Mexico for a couple months and Guatemala for a month. And then after that, we're going to cross the pond. That's what we call the Atlantic Ocean. And we're going to go to Turkey. We're going to go to Europe. And if Europe doesn't open, we'll sneak in. We'll swim across from Morocco and sneak into Spain. Just kidding, we won't. At least we won't tell anyone. Okay, we got to keep the comments going in here. Rachel is back.
I was bringing order to chaos. They can't see my stance. See, I'm trying to do my Superwoman.
Do the Superwoman
I did
stance.
that? Yes. My son missed his flight to Guatemala this morning because his COVID test that he got on Monday did not get back in time. And so this morning we had to get on, reschedule the flight, reschedule the COVID test. He just went to get it done with his sister, who's 18, because last time he took Devin, who's 22, and it was no problem. They didn't even check. I think the problem this time was because she was black.
Ooh, racist buggers.
His black big sister took him, and they said,
and
nope,
there's like, something's off here.
something's off here.
You guys don't look like siblings.
This is not your parent or guardian. So they wouldn't let him do it.
Ooh.
So I had to handle all that, take care of it, and reschedule, and all kinds of fun stuff. It is handled for now. So hopefully we'll still get this figured out.
Low down, dirty, rotten.
Yeah, low down, dirty, rotten. Try to call him, wouldn't answer. Anyways, I brought order to chaos.
There's always chaos, friends.
There's
and it's
always
okay,
chaos.
right? It doesn't have to rattle you. It doesn't have to rattle you. Okay, I got to hit these comments.
Yes.
We'll bring you up to date. This has been fun.
Good.
At least it's been fun for
I
me.
was in my office. I could hear some
Okay,
stuff.
I've been ranting and raving, and I hope these guys have been sitting here looking at me like, what is he saying?
Crazy guy.
Wait, hold
Where's
on.
Rachel?
So let's see, right here it says, we had a family meeting this week. We asked the kids what kind of family we want to be. Like, okay, the rest of you, if you've not done that with your family yet, do it. Do it. Sit in with your family, say, what kind of family do you want to be? That is golden, right? And you ask them, and then the first thing they said was they want to be a family that finishes things.
Yes.
Yes. So what is your responsibility? What is your moral obligation now? It's to pick something in the next 30 days and dadgummit, you finish it. If you don't have to sleep, you don't sleep, you don't eat, you don't talk to other humans, like you get it done.
Or finish lots of small things too.
Or do that.
Starting with
and
small
start
things.
celebrating and put them up and put it on a fridge. Put a checklist on your fridge and write things on there. You guys, we finished this. Boom, we're finishers. We finished this. Boom, we finished this.
And
boom.
that's actually a really good strategy because when you finish small things, you still get a sense of accomplishment. You're like, I finished that. Yes, and it feels good. So the more small things you can finished, like that's a good thing. It creates momentum. In fact, that's what I'm doing with my Jordan Peterson challenge. I'm picking the easy ones. I'm starting with those. I'm listening to the easy books. I'm listening to, I'm creating momentum, because then once you get going, it feels good. You're like, yeah, I'm doing this. I can do it.
It's called success stacking. Most of us unconsciously
Or
failure stack.
Mm-hmm.
I did this. I never finished that. Oh, I tried. It never worked. I tried that once. Oh my goodness, I did that. I gave it my best shot. It didn't work out. See, I'm a failure. Exactly. And so we stack against ourselves. So when I say, hey, you guys should do this, you think, I can't.
I can't do that.
But that changes. Dadgummit, that changes. If I have to come to your house, we will visit you. We have a big van that fits our family now. So don't mess with us. We can fit our whole family in one vehicle, and it's an awesome vehicle. So we will road trip.
We will road trip.
And we will come and gently persuade you, very diplomatically.
We'll just stand there.
To do it. We'll just stand there and watch while you do it with smiles and a little clap. But done it will be. Okay, let me keep going here. So true. I finally found an eating plan I felt like I could do, and it's been easy. Other times I would, quote, try something, but didn't really think I could do it. Once I found something I thought I could do, it was easy to do because I said, I'm doing it, not just trying. Yeah. Amen, sister, right on a Wednesday morning. That's a little bit of gospel right there. Woo! Man, so true.
But see what that is right there? That's an identity piece. Okay? It's a part of your identity. Trying is not identity. If you're trying to do something, it's because that's not who you are. But when you do something, that's because that's who you are. So when it becomes something that you do, then it becomes a part of your identity, and it becomes easy to do it. It was really funny this morning. We were doing a devotional, and part of what I was talking about was preparation. We are doing this big road trip in Mexico in January. And so prepping, I'm thinking about, okay, we have all these systems set up. What systems do you need to be able to take on the road to keep doing the things you're doing? And so I was talking about, I'm getting a flute, because I used to play the flute, but I've been playing the piano, and I'm going to take the flute so I can keep working on being a musician, right? Because that's part of my identity piece I'm creating, that I'm a musician. And my 6-year-old, she's like, but you're not, Mom, you're just pretending. And I was like, yep, but if I pretend long enough, it will become true, right? So that's a part of that thing. Like, you just do the things, and then you become that person, and it reinforces the identity. I better take this call. It might be.
And I'm back. Thanks for the special guest appearance. That was awesome.
Yes, it is.
Okay. My goodness, we struck a chord today, didn't we? With decluttering and getting healthy. Who is excited? Oh my goodness. Yeah, show a little excitement, people. Okay, one of the things is, I'm just gonna take a shot in the dark here and say, you guys don't show enough excitement in your lives. I'm just gonna shoot that out there. Show some excitement, man. Do you dance around enough? Do you have fun enough? Do you play enough? Do you celebrate enough? All right, let's get it, man. Let's get it. Just be excited. Let's do this. So, and I notice you're going to start some threads in here. Let's please do this. Let's not just talk about it. Let's say, oh, I should. Let's take the next 30 days, get our houses cleaned, and either lose the weight or keep it off. Who was it? Let's see. It was Miriam. Said she lost it because she had the flu. So now it's just keep it off. Hey, the flu helped. That's the worst way to do it, but it works. Sometimes it works. I got to take what works. Now just keep it down. Stay super healthy. You guys share recipes with each other. If you find an awesome recipe, I actually have a document where I gather all the healthy recipes that are healthy and delicious, and I put them all in a document. If my kids go find them and make recipes, I'm like, let's save and add that one, right? Because sometimes we're just like, crap, what should we eat? And we don't know what to eat. We don't feel like making a meal. And so what do we eat? We eat crap. We eat the processed boxed junk food. We pound a whole bunch of potato chips and French fries, and we call it dinner. That's not helping anybody, right? Like, let's get on this stuff and cheer each other on, hold each other accountable. Let's go post pictures of things you get rid of. And this is what I did with my coaching client. You guys, they had 4 storage units packed full of stuff. 4. And their garage was full, and their house was cluttered. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, it's going to be painful, but I want you to give me a date. Give me a deadline. And so she gave me a deadline, enlisted the whole family to help, and they did it. They got rid of so much stuff, and they ordered it and organized it. Oh my goodness. It was amazing. They have transformed their lives. And so she keeps posting me pictures. She posts pictures every week of the progress they're making. It's amazing. And their house has been under construction for years. They've made more progress in the last few months working with me than they have in years. Because I'm like, you have a deadline. Let's go. So if you guys post pictures of this, keep a results log. Keep a victory log. Everyone do that. Everyone start a victory log. And all the good things you do, just write them in there. Every time you do something, like write it in there, put it in your victory log. Especially as you're going through this, right? Okay, let's see. So the Facebook, we're doing it in the Facebook group. So it's just the Extraordinary Family Life, it's the formula. Extraordinary Family Life Formula Facebook group. So Jody, you can request to join that, or we can find you. Yeah, just put a request to join. We'll put you in there. Yeah, we all do better with the groups, right? Yes. Okay, Mary said this. Yes, Rachel, what you said a few months ago about you only eat sugar on special dates was great. I didn't have sugar most of the month of October, but did have a birthday cake on my son's birthday last week. Great. Awesome. Fantastic. Right? So go whole month without sugar, have a little cake. Great. No problem. Right? It's when we're like every day, like, oh, just today. Every day we say, just today. I'll start tomorrow. That's when we get ourselves in trouble. Way to go, man. That's a big celebration, man. That's a big win. Yeah, let's all, so Nathan's asked if I'll share my recipe list. Yeah, I'm happy to share it. You guys, let's all share. Anything you find that has no sugar, no like chemicals, and very low carbohydrates. I'm not going to say no carbohydrates. I'm going to say low, very, very low, simple carbs. White rice, tiny bit. Breads, tiny bit. Potato chips, no. French fries, no. Even potatoes, simple starches, very, very, very little, right? Just go like that. The bulk of your diet should be vegetables. And I know some of you are like, ooh, but there are so many amazing recipes. Oh my goodness, so many amazing recipes from around the world, from Mediterranean to Ethiopian to Peruvian. Like, you can cook a veggies in so many different ways, and it's amazing. We eat very, very well. Cacao's amazing. Go easy on the dates, because the dates are simple sugars. I know they're natural, and they're natural sugar, so they're way better than natural sugar, but they are straight sugar. This is healthy. Bam, 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 bam. It's a sugar hit. And then go easy on the almond milk, because that's, well, yeah. And a pinch of salt. Good. So you're making treats there. Again, awesome, but go easy on those. Whole Foods, plant-based, hot chocolate recipe. Nice. Yum. Man. So basically no to that hot chocolate. That, my dear, I would say is a pretty good hot chocolate right there if you're going to have one. Just start slowly weaning yourself off the American sweetness. We use way too many sweeteners and too much. Okay, so guidelines. Guidelines are no sugar, very, very low carbohydrates, no chemicals. If you look on the ingredients list and it's got things you cannot pronounce, don't eat it. Sorry, I know that changes things. Like, don't eat it. And here's a rule. Just this one rule will change your life. Do not eat anything after dinner. And hopefully dinner should be somewhere around 6. If occasionally it's 6:30 or 7, okay, I get it. But try to eat around 5 or 6-ish, and no food after dinner. That has to be a hard line. No food after dinner. Now, we all have this habit, not all of us, but many of us have a habit of eating junk after snacks all the way up to bedtime. All that stuff does is just turn into fat during the night when we're sleeping. Right? Anything you're eating after dinner is, and have small dinners, because you're going into sleep. And when you're sleeping, your body doesn't need tons of energy. It needs energy during the day when you're working. So don't fill your tank right before bed. You don't need it. That one thing right there will just transform your whole body. It's really awesome. And it's not that hard. It seems hard because you're like, oh, I want my snacks. I want to eat my chocolate and licorice and goldfish and Cheetos, Oreos and donuts before bed while I sit and watch Netflix episodes. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, suggestions on good low glycemic natural sweetener. Yes, ma'am. We use monk fruit extract and erythritol. They are sugar alcohols that do not spike your blood sugar levels at all. That's the key. You don't want to spike your blood sugar because it damages your brain and your body turns it into fat. So we kind of got things wrong here. We got things twisted. Good fats are actually good for us. So you see all these low fat foods, well, they're low fat and high sugar, or sugar substitutes like sorbitol, and those things are terrible, terrible. So if you're going to use a sweetener, use pure maple syrup, and very little bit, and honey, very little. Just use very little. Just start bringing down the sweetener addiction we have, the sweet addiction we have here in America. Just bring that baby back down. Boom. Drink some herbal teas. Yeah, so good. Put a little butter in that. Herbal tea with butter. Yeah, the good fats are the avocados, coconut oil, the nuts. Olive oil is, from what I've read, it's okay. We like it. MCT oil is gold. Oh my goodness, it's gold. And you can actually find that at Walmart inexpensively. And then coconut oil, nuts, and avocados. Yes, 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 yes. Those are wonderful. We personally like grass-fed butter. You get the Irish butter because it's all grass-fed, so there's no chemicals, none of that junk. It's wonderful. Okay. Cinnamon herbal tea that needs no sweetener. Yes, yum. We do that. Oh, there it is. Cinnamon apple spice. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. And we have those. That's a great thing to have before bed. So instead of having food, if you feel a little bit hungry, get something like that and it satiates it. So we put a little MCT oil in and a little bit of grass-fed butter and then a little bit of monk fruit and boom. Oh my goodness. It's amazing. Feels good. Maybe a little cream too. Helps with satiation. Exactly. Thank you, Shannon. Yep. A little MCT oil and the herbal tea helps with satiation. It feels so good. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's good. What a day. What a day. We'll wrap up there. You guys are amazing. Okay, are we in? Who's in? Are we in? You gonna get houses decluttered? We're in too because we're moving. That stuff's got to go. And let's get healthy. This beautiful journey. Let's get in the healthiest position possible. And I promise, as you set and achieve goals, do it little by little. Celebrate your successes. Keep a victory log. And you know what? Here, let me share this. You want a food recipe class? Yeah, that'd be awesome, huh? Yeah, that'd be very good. Here's a promise I can make you. Put your own personal victory log up where everyone can see it. And check stuff off. And they may not say anything, but everyone in the house will start to be influenced by you more because they see you succeeding. They see you going somewhere. The most uninspiring thing is when we go nowhere. And so it's hard to be influenced if we're not going anywhere, we're not doing anything. You with me? Just put up your victory log, start checking stuff off. And you put things on there like organize the drawer, bam. Organize the closet, bam. Take a load to the Goodwill, bam. Right? You just start hitting check, 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 check. And they see it and they're like, okay, let's go. And you can really influence and move them. Okay? Oh, man, I love you guys. You're the best. Thank you for being amazing human beings, for being intentional and deliberate and for being just good people and for your desire to level up, man. So good. So good. Okay, let's do this together. Let's support each other. Let's cheer each other on. Let's rock this thing. Okay, love you guys. Reach upward. Remember, get in the Facebook group. Let's get in the Facebook group and support each other, cheer each other on there. Okay, adios, amigos.